Have you ever wondered where the problems in the world today would exist if we had deeper connection to ourselves, others, and the environment and acted from that place? Welcome to the Conscious Action Podcast with your host, Brian Berneman, who believe that connection is the key to taking conscious action as individuals and creating a better world. We are here to raise awareness and inspire meaningful action by sharing stories, knowledge, and conversations with thought leaders and change makers. From sustainability to well-being and everything related to conscious living, our mission is to empower you to be the change that you want to see in the world.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Conscious Action Podcast. I am Brian Berneman, your host, and for this episode, I wanted to explore holistic living. How do we nurture ourselves in modern life, both spiritually, cognitively, our mind, somatically, our bodies? How do we nurture all of our aspects in this modern life by allowing ourselves to live holistically? So this is something that I have been on the path for the last 20 years, this approach of seeing myself as more than just one aspect or just one part, to understand that there's a whole and I am a whole, and there is still those compartments and there's still parts of me or aspects of me, but at the core of who I am, there is wholeness. So how do we bring that into our modern daily life? That is one of the things that a lot of times is quite challenging, because there is so much out there and life moves so fast and we have so many trends in the well-being space, and there is a lot of things that actually, at least for me, doesn't make sense, seems to not authentic, out of integrity, and we need to be able to discern a lot of things, and we need to be able to understand, how do we address the challenges of our lives by balancing, spiritual growth every day in our lives with all of the demands and the challenges that are out there, due to our systems, whether that's financial, work, relationships, whatever that is, or however it looks like. We need to figure that out. So one of the things that I teach a lot, and one of the main things that was pivotal in my own journey, was integrating spiritual practices daily for my life. Because, a lot of us, if we are working or if we have families, life is, in a sense, full. There might be a lot of busyness. So by integrating some daily practices, we can start to bring more into our life this holistic approach that, whatever it is that I'm doing, whether I'm at work or whether I'm at home, the intention behind it, how I create the space, how I show up in those spaces, makes a big difference. And when we're able to allow ourselves to bring some different practices, initially perhaps short, small, bite-sized practices, as we slowly start to create a difference in our brain or if our patterns energetically, because it takes time to unlearn and it takes time to introduce something different. So, a lot of times I have so many people, so many clients that come and they're like, they want to change and change everything. I'm like, great, let's start small, because sometimes going full on doesn't work because we cannot maintain it. Sometimes when New Year resolutions and a lot of people are like, I'm going to start going to the gym every single day and I'm going to work out. And then, comes the following week and perhaps if they went once or twice and then they give up because it's sometimes too much to do, too much in too short amount of time. So by integrating some small practices that it can even be, taking 3 deep breaths every time that you're about to have a meal. So you know that every single day you're going to eat whatever it is that you eat. Every time, just before the first bite, just taking 3 deep breaths. That can support you. That can be part of creating the changes. So creating new neural pathways, creating new energy so that you can actually show up differently. And these are important because these practices, any kind of practice, whether it is mindfulness, movement, any kind of practice that we do, is important because there are so many distractions nowadays in our lives. Whether it is, actually physically, we can walk around and there might be signs and billboards everywhere, restaurants, cafes, shops, so many different things. Our phones, our computers, people around us, so many distractions that we need something to anchor us. We need something to allow us to stay grounded and centered. And when we allow ourselves to find the right practices for the stage of life where we are now, the practices, evolve or we evolve. And therefore, sometimes the practices need to evolve with us or we need to change the practices. It is really important to have practices. This might be a ritual of drinking tea. Perhaps just drinking tea can be a ritual to bring presence and awareness and mindfulness to your day. I know that I do this drinking mate, the Argentinian drink, it's a ritual. It's a moment that actually I created. For some people, that might be making coffee. For some people, that might be, again, some tea or some cacao, whatever that is. We need to find what it is that we like to do and those practices so that we can actually integrate them. And it is really important to understand what resonates with us and to trust our intuition. Once we know how to listen to our intuition, not just to our mind, what we think that potentially is our intuition, which is a pitfall for many people. We need to understand how to discern between the different trends that we are, being shown all of the time of different things or different people that, are trying to sell different practices or products. And there's a lot of amazing things. There's a lot of cool things. And as we are, potentially exploring different culture, traditions, practices, we might like to, go to these places. And also, we need to be careful because there's a lot of stuff out there that is not in integrity, that it's all about people wanting to just make money out of you. And that unfortunately exists. So the same with, I and I know I have a lot of things, like books or crystals. We need to be careful a lot of times. We don't need 500 crystals. We can just have a few that really resonate with us. Whatever that few is, 2, 5, 20, 100. I have a lot of crystals. So I am quite intentional in the crystals that I have. We need to, be able to discern what's true, what's not, what's in integrity, what's not. And we need to trust ourselves. And this is why to trust ourselves, we need to find that connection. We need to figure out how to really connect, really remember to reconnect with ourselves. It's not something that we are taught. So we need to relearn or unlearn our tendencies to be able to show up in that way. So we need to be able to be careful, and we need to be able to understand that we need to create space and time for ourselves in our spiritual journey and in our life and as we develop and as we grow, because mostly we have all been conditioned to put others first, So, for example, if you are a healer or a coach or a yoga teacher, you know, you're giving and you're, sharing with others. And I keep on seeing a lot of times people that burn out doing that because they haven't actually kept on taking care of themselves before they take care of others. All of us that we give and we are in service of others, we need to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves first. I keep on reminding every time that I work with someone, just on the airplane, put your mask first on before you put the mask on someone else. If you are not well, if you don't maintain your well-being in all aspects, you're not going to be able to show up fully for the people that you're wanting to support. So make sure that you're balancing your your path, your spiritual growth, your spiritual path as you are supporting and helping others on their own journey. And this a lot of times is challenging because we don't have many models of that. We haven't been modeled or shown how that is like. You know, there's so many things in life that we don't have role models to be able to understand how to be. And we tend to get caught up a lot of times on, famous people or someone, that is on their spiritual path and has 1 million followers on social media. And it's, perhaps they are great, but perhaps not. Perhaps we don't want to be like them. But all that we know is what they are showing on social media. The same with me. Like a lot of people don't know who I am. Like even, people that work with me or people that see me on social media or that follow the podcast. There's no way that we can truly know everyone fully. Yet, when we want to, follow someone or something, we need to ask ourselves, like, how is the person that we are, trying to follow, how is their life in all aspects, not just in what they are sharing and whatever practice they are doing. I keep on seeing people that are teaching, practices for relaxation, like different healing techniques or meditation. And the people that are teaching that are super stressed out. And, outside of that, they are people that if I would want to learn meditation, I wouldn't want to learn meditation from someone that is stressed out all of the time. Because that means that whatever they are teaching me, they are either not implementing or it's not working. So we need to be careful a lot of times with that. And we need to be able to understand as we do that, how to find others, that are on the path, that are on a similar path, finding that community or that tribe that can nurture us and can support us and can actually, allow us to keep on growing because we are feeding off each other. And it is so important nowadays to find those genuine connections because there's so much superficiality online and in person. Finding that depth, it's not that common. So allowing yourself to open and to explore and to find those people that will allow you to be yourself and to grow and to keep on expanding and evolving, and at the same time not judging you and allowing you to be, if someone thinks that you're too woo-woo, cool. There's this other group of people that will embrace you for who you are because they are, in the same sphere, or they are in the same level, or they are resonating with the same things. So it is really important to be able to do that. And when we see life from a holistic perspective, then we understand that there are challenges in life and there's things that are going to push our buttons and are going to trigger us and to activate us. So when we understand that, when we bring as well, a trauma-informed approach or a compassionate approach to life, or an understanding both for other people and for ourselves, these things, then we make it easier to navigate because we don't judge as much certain reactions or certain emotions or certain types of thoughts because we understand how we've been conditioned and what we are doing and how things will show up. So the more that we understand it, the easier it is. So bringing this holistic approach to life, to see every aspect of our life as an exploration or as a teacher. Each part of ourselves, each part of what's outside can be a teacher. You know, people, if you're in a relationship, those people can be your teachers. The relationship itself can be a teacher. Your friends can be a teacher. Your work can be a teacher. Being out in nature can be a teacher. So, especially for those of us that live in cities, it is really important to connect, to ground, to connect to nature. Some of us like to just be in the garden. Some of us like to go to the beach. Some of us like to go to the forest. What do you connect with? And how do you allow yourself, either daily or weekly, to make sure that you are having that connection to nature, especially if you live in a city? If you live in nature, beautiful, you already have that. And also, how are you connecting? Because I know a lot of people that say that they go to nature to connect, but all that they are doing is they are doing stuff. They are walking around, which is great. They are not taking the time to actually connect. A lot of times, if I'm going, to a new place, to a forest or to a new land, even just taking a moment internally to ask for permission to enter from, if there's any spirits or energies from the space or from the land, just to do that can be a way of connecting. Some people like to hug trees and feel it, and connect their heart with the tree. However it is that you do that, making sure that you are actually connecting and not just being there. So when we allow ourselves to understand, different people around time and around history have been exploring different ways of connecting. Nature is a big one. But there are so many more. I've been fortunate to be able to be introduced to different traditions, different religions, different cultures in different countries. And there's always something to take away from there. There are so many different spiritual traditions. For me, as an example, like Tibetan Buddhism has been a huge part because I really resonate with it as a philosophy of life, as a way of seeing life, of bringing awareness, presence, of bringing compassion into life, of bringing equanimity for my experience. When we allow ourselves to see something that perhaps is foreign, how can we incorporate it? And how, do we make sure that we are not getting into the place of cultural appropriation? Because this is a tricky place, especially for those of us that share practices that are not from perhaps the culture or the country or the religion that we grew up in. And we need to be able to be careful about this because there is so much out there, no? And we need to honor where teachings came from And we need to honor as well how we are doing things. I know so many people that have been doing what they call yoga, and it's not a yoga class, it's a fitness class with yoga elements. Or they are doing cacao ceremonies, and they are not doing a cacao ceremony, they are just serving cacao. So, we need to be able to be careful and to see what is what. We need to be able to learn and to understand, how can I use this? Because every culture, every spiritual tradition has beautiful things, and we need to figure out what do we resonate with. Do I resonate with the shamanic realm? Do I resonate with the indigenous people from, New Zealand or from Australia or from different places in like America or Africa or even in Europe? Do I resonate with Buddhism? Do I resonate with Christianity? Do I resonate with Kabbalah? Do I resonate with Tarot, with astrology? We need to figure out what we resonate with and explore, being curious, being open, and also being careful. So when we're doing all of this, it's really a big approach, a holistic approach. We need to expand ourselves to understand how do we bring this into life? How do we use the practices and each day as the practice? How do we allow ourselves to live our lives spiritually every single day, regardless of what we are doing? If I am present, I am always meditating. It doesn't matter if I am at work, if I'm seeing clients, if I'm teaching at university, if I am with friends, if I am recording like this, if I am present, then that is what I'm doing. That is my spiritual practice, even as I'm doing things. And when something activates, that is still a spiritual practice. That is the chance to understand, to be aware, and to work with that. So, I invite you to keep on exploring, keep on being curious, and be careful of things that potentially are not what they seem to be, and to be able to explore the different aspects of yourself. Your mind, your body, your breath, your spirit, your relationships, your work. All of that is part of life, and it's part of how we nurture all of these different aspects to live holistically. So I would love to know, how is this for you? How do you embrace holistic living? How do you explore this? What are some of the traditions or techniques or methodologies that you're using every single day to keep on evolving, to keep on exploring, and to integrate into your daily life? Leave a comment whatever it is that you're finding this episode. And as always, thank you so much for listening, for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!
What did you like the most about this episode? Take a moment to think about what change you can make in your life today.
Share your conscious action on social media using #ConsciousAction and tagging @ConsciousActionNZ so we can celebrate your impact on the world and create a ripple effect.
One easy action we would love for you to take right now is to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. This will help us get these messages out into the world and inspire more people to take conscious action in their own lives, contributing to the better world we hope for.